Hello, everybody. So, today, after a crazy long wait, we are going to be reading Let's Play Dr. Smiley, ex-listener up in here. We are currently in chapter 5, but we got to go back a chapter for the purpose of the recap. So, very extremely long story short, since I'm gonna have to catch up a little bit because it's been like 2 months since I've read this. So basically, we were kidnapped with our friend. Turns out that Dr. Smiley isn't who he was. We felt betrayed, blah, 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 blah. And turns out that we're in this ginormous, horrendous game, which basically they kill each and every one of the players chosen, which is, I would say, about like 500, close to almost 1,000 people chosen. It's crazy. And you're on this basically like death game. Like whoever survives wins, gets set free. Right. So, for the first game, you had to run to this old abandoned mansion, right? And they all ran. For you, they all ran. As you were guys running and blah, 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 Laughing Jack caught up to you guys, and for you sacrificed your YN sacrificed herself for her friend Allie to live on, and she got impaled right through the chest. Thinking that both Laughing Jack, her friend, and YN thinking that she's dead, eventually after some time she awoken, and instead of having the right mind of just turning back around and running away and potentially getting help for everyone, because everyone thought she was dead, she went ahead and ran back to the mansion and surprised everyone that she was somehow still alive with a big gaping hole in her chest. And whatnot. And then eventually she ended up passing out due to the blood loss. That's all I can really say. It left Laughing Jack pretty mad, but not like much he could do about it. Not much he could do about it, right? Anywho, I'm gonna do as like a little pre-warning, guys. I attempted to read this like once the same day, and I have to re-record it, or I had to, because of just how confusing some of the words can be, because they're written in a way that like you could easily mispronounce or misconstrue the sentences or words up pretty easily. So if I keep messing up, I am so sorry in advance. That's your little warning. This is about to get real messy up in here. Getting into these warnings, y'all, I'm a little nervous because like this story is gonna be crazy. And I mean crazy. So prepare yourselves. First one is gonna be deaths. There are gonna be a lot of deaths and a little bit of descriptions of the way the person probably died and how the dead bodies will be taken care of. Monsters. Think of the rake, the smile dog, other unknown and creepy things. Gore. There'll be a lot, and I mean a lot of gore, and sometimes descriptive gore. Some descriptive and disturbing things. Description of torture. Stalking behavior. Stockholm syndrome for surprisingly most of the players. Nudity mentioned. It's not completely described, but it is definitely mentioned. In a way, almost descriptive, but not completely. I just gotta say before y'all continue on with this video, please prepare yourselves. It's about to get really hectic and just very dark. Very dark. Also, not to mention, how this book is written, or when it was written, for me, it was not written in a way that is easily readable. So sometimes I will be changing the words in a way that's a little more understandable and what the story is actually trying to portray. Or I will just fumble over words a lot because some of them just do not really coexist or that word together. So yeah. Englishing will not be Englishing in the story, basically. So, yeah, wish me luck, and y'all have been warned. Chapter 5. When I woke up, I saw that I was in a hospital room. But this hospital isn't wide and all clean. The only clean thing seemed to be the bed that I was laying in. The floor had many cracks in it, the medicine cabinets, and a few sharp tools. The rest of the tools are covered in old blood and rust. The walls' was chipping off with a few blood drops here and there, and some of the counters looked as if someone broken them. Turning my head to the side, I spotted a man with a navy blue mask staring straight at me. I jumped from my spot and ended up falling onto the floor. Getting back to my feet quickly, I felt a huge amount of pain in my chest area. I can feel the tight bandages under my shirt to most likely stop the bleeding. The man that was watching me in my sleep, that I know as Eyeless Jack from his reaction earlier when they gave out that example, tilted his head to the side like a curious cat would. I'm surprised you survived. When I saw your body, I didn't hear your heartbeat nor your breathing as well. I wonder. I just stared at him, and then at the door, then back at him. Well, I should be going now, I said, and he chuckled. Don't worry, I didn't come here to kill you. Follow me, and you will join the others to get something to eat. I nodded my head, and I followed as he quickly left, but I didn't stay too close to him. He eats people, and I don't trust that. Not long after, we finally made it to the kitchen area, and I gladly ran to Allie when I saw her sitting right by an empty seat next to her. When I sat down, she looked at me with wide eyes and smiled. When I saved a room for the both of us. Sorry that it was only one bed, but it is a king size, and I didn't want to sleep alone in this place, she said. That's okay. This place is pretty creepy, and waking up with the navy blue mask guy watching me the whole time wasn't a great awakening, I said back. Many people talked around us, but I did know one thing. I only trust Ali. Anyone else can stab us in the back or we'll die, and I don't want to cry over someone's death that I barely knew. All I want to do is keep Ali safe. That's when, out of nowhere, a hand went down in front of us and placed down a plate full of food. Everyone went quiet and waited for permission to eat. We all feared, though, that it was poisoned. Don't worry, we aren't going to kill you with poison. What's the fun with that? The pale-skinned man said as his carved smile only grew. I could see the flesh of his burned eyelids try to shut closed a little bit, but all it could do was twitch. Just looking at him makes me sick. After that, everyone started to eat, and so did we. Dr. Smiley then started to speak out of nowhere. Just a quick saying announcement so all of you will know more about this game. There will only be one survivor, and when you win, you are free to go back home. Just a warning though, if you tell anyone that we were the ones that did this to you, well, all I can say is that no one will believe you and you will be put in an asylum. We will then find you there locked up and kill you. A lot of the people stopped eating when he said one survivor, and then they looked at their new friend as if saying, I will let you die. Also, I will need every female in here so I can remove your ovaries. We don't want to handle your periods, for we are killers, and we don't want to kill every person in the neighborhood for pads. After all, there's a few hundred of you, even though a lot of you did die. There are still a lot of you alive. A lot of the girls choked on their food, and Allie started to panic. I looked down at my food sadly as I thought through my past. I don't have kids. I can't have kids because I had to get mine surgically removed a long time ago. Even if they didn't do that, if my heart stopped on me for just a few minutes, the child would die and I would have to get them removed. How long will be able to heal? One of the girls asked. We will give you enough time to heal. We wouldn't want any of you to be in a lot of pain and get killed easily. This game is fair. Also, the ones who don't have ovaries. Also, raise your hands for the one who don't have ovaries so I can mark your name down. I know that people either have them removed because of some reason or were born without them. Slowly, me and this one girl raised our hands. It was just the two of us. She looked just as sad as me. Please give me a reason as to how you don't have any. I guess he wants to make sure that we weren't lying. I was Born without any. It is clear she is holding back some tears. She probably wanted this huge family but can't have it unless adopting. I had to get mine removed when I was a child, I said. He nodded his head and as a wide grin crossed his face, showing all of his sharp teeth towards us. When you are done eating, form a line at the doctor's area. When he said that, he left. Every girl stayed completely silent as the guys looked at them in worry. I wish I could get mine surgically removed if I had any. The girl that raised her hand said, "Why would you want that?" Another girl questioned her. "Because there's a possibility that you will die when he removes it. I'd rather get killed by that than these men," she answered. Some of them chuckled at her words as bloodlust showed in their eyes. We flinched at this and turned our heads away from them. We continued to eat in silence, and when a lot of girls did finish, none of them moved. I know how they feel, but when I was younger, I barely even knew what ovaries did until school finally taught me. "Ryan, can you be with me through this whole thing?" Ali asked. I gave her a sad face, but of course I nodded my head. "I swear I'll let Ali be the only one to survive this, even if it means that I have to let her kill me in the end." Girl, trust me, natural selection for dumbasses like her, she'll be gone very soon. So you ain't gotta worry about all that. When she was done eating, we both got up as she grabbed my hand. I squeezed hers in a comforting way as she showed me a different way to the doctor area. Not long after, we were the first ones there, and I saw Dr. Smiley getting everything ready. He turned his head towards us as he placed on his doctor's mask and some gloves. "Please lie down on the operating table, and we shall get this done quickly." She nodded her head and went to the table. I followed her as she lied down. He came towards us with a tray of medical tools and a needle. He grabbed one of those cleaning wet napkin things that people usually use before you get a shot to clean that area. He pulled her shirt up a little, and I held onto her hand. She is shaking a lot as her eyes are squeezed tightly shut. He then pulled her pants down a little and grabbed the needle. Placing his gloved hand on her skin, he slowly pushed the needle in and let the unknown liquid flow through her body. I turned my head to see more of the girls coming as they watched silently. "Can you feel the pressure of my hand on you?" Smiley spoke up, and I looked back at him. "No," Ali stuttered. "Good. Tell me if you can feel me cutting into you." Just as he said that, I looked away, but the other girls watched as their faces slowly turned to horror. Ali's hand shook more, but not in pain, most likely waiting for pain to happen. After a few hours of waiting for him to be done, I heard him say, "Finished." I turned my head back to see that he covered her new wound in these thick cottons held by clear tape. I helped her up, and we both left the area as the next girl went. Ali showed me to her room, and she was right about there only being one bed, but it is a king size, so it's not that bad. Even if the beds were separated, I would have pushed mine to hers to make it one bed. This place is creepy and filled with murderers. I'd rather sleep on the same bed as someone than alone, with someone than alone. The room, though, is really messed up. The window is covered with well, excuse me. The window is covered with wood nailed to it, probably so that no one can escape. The floor is slightly dusty along with a few things, and the paint on the walls are chipping off. How old is this place? Ali lied down on the bed that didn't seem to be covered in dust like the other things around us. I sat down at the foot of the bed. "When do you think someone might start killing off people just so it can be faster for them to be the last survivor?" Ali asked out of nowhere. "Maybe. I guess it depends on how scared that person is to the point where they start taking other people's lives just for them to live on." I answered, and she gave a shaky sigh. I saw one of the guys looking panicked when he said that there will only be one survivor. He seemed a little off when the doctor said that almost as if he was contemplating something that probably wasn't good. "He looked at you for the longest time," she said. What did he look like?" I asked. "He has light brown hair and dark brown eyes. His skin is a little darker and his shirt said Bloody Painter." Who the fuck is Bloody Painter? Actually, that doesn't matter at the moment, since I'm just trying to find out who this guy is, and seeing that he has a shirt that says someone's name on it makes it easier to find him. Thank you for telling me, Allie, I said. No problem, she said. We both became silent, and I decided to get up. I'm going to walk around. I'll be back soon, I said, and she nodded her head. I left our room as I walked around. I can see that Dr. Smiley finished a lot of the girls, or I think all of them now, which is interesting considering he seemed to have taken a longer time doing Allie. Maybe someone was helping him? At one point, I did pass by the doctor's door area and I saw a girl with Dr. Smiley's name on her shirt. I looked at her and saw that she was face to face with Dr. Smiley himself. You do realize that if you are lying to me and don't tell me the truth right now, I will kill you. You aren't that important to me. I have a better toy than you. Better toy? Who would that be and what did she lie about? I swear I'm not lying to you. You have to trust me, she yelled out. Very well, then show me, he said, and this seemed to put the girl in shock and panic. Um, she stuttered as she tried to find words to speak out. I've already warned you about lying, and now you will be punished for this, he said calmly, and she shook in her spot. But before he could grab her, I ran up to him and grabbed his wrist in my hand. They both looked at me, and I was in shock as well that I even did something. What am I doing? I need to stay alive for Allie, not some random girl. I opened my mouth to say something, but before anything could leave my lips, I became even more in shock when the doctor pulled me close to him. I felt two pair of cold lips on mine. Reminder, he is only using the reader. This is not a romantic story. My whole face heated up, and when he pulled away, I backed away from him as my heart pounded loudly in my chest. I looked at the girl, and she looked at me with shock and surprise covering her features. Before either of us could react, he grabbed the other girl's hand and forced her into the medical room as he closed the door behind him along with locking it. As I walked away, I rethought everything that just happened. When I came back to Allie, I told her what happened, and she seemed to be just as confused as me. After a few hours of talking about it, someone else came into our room and told us we had to go to the main room because I guess Dr. Smiley had something to say. The both of us left the room, and luckily for Allie, the numbing medicine is still working, so she is not in pain yet. Once we made it to the main room, Allie and I pushed our ways to the front to see better. The girl I saw earlier is tied to a chair, but her face is covered with a potato sack that had a blood-shaped smiley face. Even Dr. Smiley is covered in blood. The girl's legs and arms are also bloody, along with her shirt, as if she was bleeding under her shirt. She is completely shackled, and weird gurgle-like sobs can be heard. Other people around us both covered their mouth as a few of us looked wide-eyed. This is an example as to why you should never lie, never escape, and never lie to us. He spoke up as he pulled down his doctor's mask. He grinned at our fears, showing off his pearly white teeth. Good thing he doesn't eat people without teeth. His eyes also seemed to gleam with joy at the fact that he will be showing us something horrible. Not even a second later, he grabbed the brown bag and pulled it off her face. In an instant, I felt sick as a few people screamed. A few of the girls and guys also fainted from the gruesome look of the girl. Her mouth is forced open with these metal things, as inside her mouth is just blood and her gums. No teeth, no tongue, and only blood as it dripped down her mouth and onto her clothes. The weird gurgling noise is coming from her from how much blood kept filling in her mouth. Bandages covered her eyes, but I can clearly see that her eyes were torn from her body. The bandages was a deep red as blood fell from her eyes area down her cheeks, along with some tears that are also covered in blood. I looked at Allie to see that she was becoming pale and before fainting as well, but I caught her so that she wouldn't hurt herself. Oh, but that's not all, he purred as he grabbed a needle from his pocket. A dear acquaintance of mine named Nick Vannell gave this to me. It's acid, and for her lies, she will be killed as the acid eats away at her skin. Before anyone could react, he pushed the needle into her neck and pushed all of the acid liquid into her body. In an instant, she started to scream as more blood escaped her lips. Her neck skin area is starting to melt off quickly as the acid spread through her body. I covered my mouth with one hand, and not long after she died, but that doesn't mean the acid stopped eating her away. I heard someone throw up, and a few other people gag as they covered their mouths and stomach. Some people curled up into a ball on the floor as they covered their ears. I looked at Dr. Smiley's red eyes as he stared back into my eyes. The grin on his face never left it. Slowly, Allie's body slipped to the floor as I could hear loud heartbeats in my ears. Heartbeats sinking. Blah. What the fuck is wrong with people? With these people, yeah. What the fuck is wrong with me reading this? Like, I feel like I'm getting like. I feel like I'm getting dyslexic for something. Like, I feel like something's going. Like, my eyes are shaking. Like, my words aren't wording. Anywho, those are just some side notes for another story, and yeah, blah 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 blah. Okay, yeah, this is just that the side notes are from another story, so I ain't gonna read it. Anyways, chapter 6. What are you planning to do with that girl, Doctor? The deep voice of the tall, suited man questioned Dr. Smiley. The doctor himself smirked up at the tall man. You should give your question more detail. I can tell that there is hidden meaning in that question. The doctor responded. All the proxies kept a close eye on the crazed doctor. One of our proxies found you kissing the game piece. What does she mean to you? This time, it wasn't a question, more of a demand. She is nothing but a toy, someone I can play with in any way I want, even if it means messing with her head, body, and emotions. If she falls in love with me, then it would be harder for her to leave me. Dr. Smiley responded as he watched the tall man silently. Not one word was said as they waited for Sunderman to speak. All of them are nowhere near the abandoned mansion that the players are in. Of course, no one can still escape because they have the Rake, Smile Dog, and Grinny Cat watching the area. They are ordered to scare the player back to the mansion, then report who tried to escape to get their punishment. Very well then. I trust that you have no feelings for the girl. You may all leave, but remember, I will visit to see who survived the next round. Everyone nodded their head as Dr. Smiley left first. Before the proxies left, they basically bowed down to him because this is an unnecessary little bit of detail that it has in the story that gave me almost an aneurysm reading it. Once all of them were gone, Slenderman turned his head to his younger brothers as they watched him silently. If this human girl got the doctor's attention, then we all know how interesting she must be. Splendor was the first to speak. POV change. It has been a whole month now, and a lot of the girls finally healed. When I say a lot, I don't mean all of them, because a few of them died from the healing process. All of us felt bad for the girls not being able to have the chance to survive and go home, but our kidnappers saw it as nothing as they rudely dragged the bodies out. All of us were curious to see where the bodies would go, considering one of them was said to feed to the Rake. None of us knew what that was, so when we did look, we saw a big white creature thing with long claws and sharp teeth eat away at the bodies. We backed away from the window, though when it looked at us, it looked as if we were going to be its next meal. If my heart ever stopped in front of that thing, it will easily eat me without a second thought. All of us jumped, though, in fear when we heard someone giggle behind us. We looked that way to see that black and white clown as he grinned down at us. That same damn clown that wants me dead. That is when someone else spoke, and we looked that way. A young boy looked that looked like it was dressed like Link and could be described as being Link if it wasn't the fact that his eyes and pale skin along with his blood tears didn't make him so creepy. He gave us a dead serious look as the broke down TV behind him was actually glowing. I've been drowned, and you will be following me to go to your next game round. If you try to escape, I won't hesitate to kill you in the spot, understood? His voice glitched as if he was in a broken video game. Basically his voice is creepy and it goes up and down in pitch. Everyone nodded their heads at him. Good, now follow, he ordered as he went outside where that Rake is. We followed though. As we went around the Rake, eating the dead girls' bodies. As we kept walking, I looked at the people with Ben's name on them. They themselves seemed scared of the person they have to win this horrible game for. I still don't know who this bloody painter guy is, but I found the guy who wants to kill me, though. I've caught him many times looking at me in the most creepiest ways possible. From the way he's acting around me, I know that he's going to try and kill me and probably say it was one of the killers who did it. He might even rip my heart out if he finds out that that's the reason that I keep coming back. Of course, if he smashes my head into nothing but brains as well, I will also die from that and never come back. After what felt like hours of walking, we finally made it to this abandoned tall building. Climb up the stairs until you reach the top. When you hear when you hear a voice tell you the rules and tell you to go, then you must try and escape. Also, just a little hint for you, there are new killers in there that you haven't met before. Ben looked at all of us and we looked back at him. After a while of staring at one another, we finally decided it was time to go up the stairs of the building. He was staring intensely at us as if he was burning holes into our skin with his eyes. Once we were inside the building, I held onto Allie's hand as we went up the stairs. Each step of the stairs we took, I could hear my heart beating louder in fear. Now the stairs weren't near each other, so we had to stick together to find the stairs. Though I thought this would be easy because I thought the stairs were right next to one another. But okay, this makes no sense in my brain. I cannot imagine this. I'm thinking like Willy Wonka type of stairs. Then again, I guess it would be dumb of them to find a place that has stairs next to one another. But finally, after 20 something minutes, or even more, we finally found the room. In the room is a voice recorder is a voice recorder. One of the guys walked up to it and pressed the play button. As a deep unknown voice spoke, we listened carefully just in case he decided to give us some hints on these new killers. You already know that you must escape here by leaving this building you entered, but it won't be as easy getting in as getting out. If you decide to hide in this room or any other room, I can promise you that some of the men you are going to come across can smell your scent and can hear your heart and breathing. You can't hide, but you can run. Running won't be as easy, though. If the puppeteer's sting gets you, you have no escape. If you can't play the cognito game, then he will get angered and you will suffer. Each killer in here has their own way of killing, and each way will be difficult to escape. Just remember, a lot of you are going to die today, so don't get cocky. The voice player stopped at that. Wait, I have the puppeteer's name on me. Do you think he'll kill me? He'll kill the people he chose? A girl asked. He's a killer. I'm sure he doesn't give two shits if you have his name or not. Another girl responded. Something didn't feel right to me, though. It seemed too calm, and Ben said that someone would say go, but the voice player never said it. I turned my head to the corner to see a dark figure of a man looking at us. He has red hair and a strange outfit on. His eyes are completely blue and his lips are green. He grinned at me as I looked at him, but then I saw the chainsaw in his hand. Hello, I'm happy. I can't. He shouted. Everyone turned their head to him as we backed away. As we did this, though, he walked forward into the dim light. It's time to go. He prayed as he started up his chainsaw and we all ran. Everyone shoved each other to go down the stairs as the chainsaw got closer to us. When no one looked around, we ran down the stairs. I still held onto Allie's hand tightly as we ran together through the halls to find other stairs. Us panicking isn't helping at all finding the stairs. It is only making our memories worse on where it was. A few other people are in front of us as we all ran. At one point, though, a random killer showed up behind an open door as he grabbed the first person he could grab. The girl screamed in his grasp. All I really saw before turning around with Allie was the fact that he has one yellow eye and the other being black as he wore a mouth guard that is black along, basically describing what this killer looks like. At one point, we found the stairs. Each stairs had a killer or even more killers, and the closer we got to the bottom, the harder it got to escape the killer. I even saw the people push down their new friend as a sacrifice. What surprised me, though, is that the killer ignored the sacrificed person and decided to go after the person who pushed their supposed friend down. We even met this puppeteer guy as well, but he was crushing the bones of many other people as they screamed in pain. Each finger had a string as they lifted people up and killed them slowly. I, of course, had to push Allie out of the way from the scene before he decided to turn us into broken bones of a puppet as well. At one point, him and I even met eyes as he had this creepy grin on his face. At the moment, though, we are stuck. The only reason why is because in front of us are two killers. One has pale skin. His mouth is covered, basically describing this killer a lot. And I think one of them is Kajiko or something like that. Yeah. We're just gonna skip all that because I'm gonna have an aneurysm the more I read it. Ali and I aren't alone though. A few other people ran with us. As for the other survivors, I have no clue where they are. More footsteps came, but they turned to a different direction from us. The killer with red eyes that ran that way to catch whoever that was, while the other one stayed. Something tells me that this is the Kajiko guy. One of the guys spoke, and we nodded our heads in agreement. There are one more stairs, and after that, we're at the bottom and can escape. Basically, in another language, let's play a game, he said. And none of us understood him, but we have a good guess on what he said from that voice recorder. Without hesitation, we all ran a different direction, and he was clearly running after us. Each time we tried to lose him, it wouldn't work. I looked behind me to see how close he is, but I didn't see him, but then I looked up. As we ran, I saw him on the ceiling, and he looked straight down at us. If he wanted, he could literally jump off the ceiling and catch one of us. When the other noticed me looking up, they did the same thing, and this caused a chain reaction to happen. He jumped and got one of the guys. No one stopped to save him because we all know what will be done with him. A blood-curdling scream is heard along with giggles. This only helped our tired forms to keep running. Before I could reach, though, I was yanked away from Allie and pulled into a room as the other doors closed. I can hear Allie scream my name as she banged against the door. "Allie, run! I'll catch up to you!" I yelled at her. I didn't hear anything for a while, but then she ran as her footsteps became faded. I stood up and looked around the dark room. Such a beautiful painting. Your dead body will become as I paint you with your blood. That I turned around to see a male with a white mask that has a bloody smile on it. His blue jacket is easily showing in the dark, hiding or whatever, as his black shirt also helped it pop out more. A knife is in his gloved hands as he walked towards me. It is clear that the door is locked, so I need to find a different way out. That's when I saw my escape, but it is behind him. Another door that is slightly cracked, showing some light from the sun. If I run at him, though, he will get the chance to stab me, but it is better to be stabbed and survive than to die. In an instant, I went for my plan, and I was correct. He reacted fast enough to stab my side, but I kept going as I held my hand onto my new injury. I slammed the door open as I ran. It didn't sound like he was running behind me, but I didn't stop running. One of these killers can probably smell my blood, and I didn't need to be chased by something that is faster than me. Once I found the stairs, I was finally able to go down, but then I felt a hand on my back, and they pushed me down the many flights of stairs. Ugh! I have a feeling I know who this is. Anyways, my neck at one point made a loud snap sound as everything became an instant black for me. When I woke back up from my death nap, I saw that it was starting to get dark outside. Standing up quickly, I started to run toward the mansion is. I didn't want to get killed by this rake thing and become its food. The whole time I ran to my destination, and even when I got tired, I didn't stop. If I survived through this whole thing until the end, I know that I will be having abs by then. After so long of running and getting scared of every noise, I finally made it back to the mansion area. As I got close, I could also hear the deep voice talking on the voice recorder. Opening the doors quickly and closing the doors behind me quickly, the whole place went silent as I turned my head towards the new killers that I saw in the room, and the one that stabbed me, along with with a few tall, faceless men. "What the hell? Why, and you're bleeding," Ali said, and I looked down to see the white shirt covered in blood, and as a small stinging of pain started to grow. Ugh, I forgot that I was stabbed. Dr. Smiley was the first to walk up as he placed one of my hands over his shoulder and helped me to the doctor area. As we walked by, I watched as the tall, faceless man watched me closely. He's the most creepiest thing I've ever saw. I can feel... Sorry. Dr. Smiley helped me walk past all of them as we went up the stairs. I held onto my side tightly as I can feel everyone's eyes on me. Their stares feel as if it was burning my back. Once we made it to the doctor room area, he placed me on a chair and went to the cabinet as he grabbed a needle and thread along with some bandages and cleaning alcohol. He walked to me once he had everything, and once he was in front of me, he told me to take my shirt off. I hesitated to do so, but having the girl die with acid popped in my head as I took the shirt off. This is going to burn, he said as he placed the alcohol on a rag and then started cleaning the stabbed area. I breathed inwards from the pain as I held onto my shirt and my grasp tightly. So tell me, how did you die this time? He questioned as he continued to clean the bloody area. I broke my neck on the stairs. Someone pushed me, I answered. Someone pushed you? It seems to be a human who wants to survive once you're dead. He responded back to my answer. It was probably that one person that wants me dead. Once he was done cleaning that area, he grabbed the needle and thread and started to stitch me back up. I bit my bottom lip to keep me from screaming in pain. Even though I did hold my screams in, I couldn't hold back my tears. Once he was finally done, I sighed in relief as he wrapped the bandages around me. An interesting girl you got there, Dr. Smiley. I jumped as I covered my chest with the bloody shirt as I turned my head to see the one guy who stabbed me, along with a few new faces, and the old one, being the eyeless Jack guy. What got you to be so interested in her now, bloody painter? So he's the bloody painter guy. That makes sense, actually, considering he said he would paint with my blood. It was very awkward, though, having so many guys walk in when you're shirtless, only a bra on. I was about to put the shirt covered in blood back on, but Dr. Smiley surprised me by taking his doctor jacket off and placing it on me. I will be giving you a new shirt, so just put that on for now. I nodded my head as I placed his doctor coat on. I'm just glad that he's taller than me, so I was able to cover myself up with no problem. When he left, though, the others still stayed, which made this a bit more awkward for me. I looked at everything but them. Me too, sister. Considering there are so many of them. What scared the living shit out of me, though, was when one of them came right to my face and slammed their head on the wall next to my face. I jumped, of course, and the others joined in surrounding me. This doesn't seem good. How the hell are you still alive? This guy in front of me I haven't seen before. He has red hair that goes past his shoulders, a strange outfit that I can't really explain. But for some reason his neck is white and with these black spikes going down. His teeth are extremely sharp. Basically, I'm pretty sure this is a toy maker. Anyways, I don't think you were going to get answers from her like that, Jason. Said his name. I remember a few people with their name on their shirt that said Jason, the toy maker, on it. The one that said something to him was the man that I'm guessing was the puppeteer, from the fact that he can pull strings from his fingers, and I saw those people die from the strings slowly. When footsteps started to come towards the door, I was thinking it was Dr. Smiley, but the person that walked in was Allie. When she sees the others, she stopped and looked at them, then me. I looked back at her, not able to explain anything from the fact that I'm too afraid to even say anything at all. That's when, out of nowhere, Dr. Smiley walked in with a grin on his face as he brought me a new shirt. Jason walked away from me, and when I looked at him, he looked completely normal. His ass was mad. His hands are normal, like his actual skin color. His eyes are yellow, and the cracks under his eyes gone. I see that you came to visit Wyan, Allie, he said, and she blushed from most likely fear as she looked away from them all. He handed me the shirt, and I was able to find a way to put it on with the doctor's coat covering me. Once I was done, I gave it back to him as I grabbed Allie's hand and was about to walk away until someone grabbed her other wrist. We both turned our head to see a different guy with stitches on his face, neck, and arms. Basically, his skin that is exposed. Even a stitched smile on his face. And basically, this is Jeff the Killer's brother. Blah. If someone were to kill your friend, how would you react? He looked at me dead in the face, but all I could do was yank Allie from him and put her behind me. I didn't answer him. All I did was stare, but then slowly back away until we couldn't see them. Then we ran to our room. What is wrong with the majority of the people here? Why am I a big deal to them? Once we made it to the room, I closed the door behind us as I sighed in relief once again. Why, I thought you died. Someone said that they saw you dead with a broken neck down the last stairs to freedom. Allie said, I thought I was dead as well. Whatever is happening to me is because of my heart. It won't stop no matter what. It won't let me die. It brings me back, and the only way to kill me is to smash my head or pull my heart out, I answered. I went to the bed, and as I sat down, aren't you hungry? She asked. I shook my head. No, I'm not. Getting freaked out like that makes me feel sick, to be honest. I'm just gonna sleep. My side hurts from getting stabbed, I said, as I lied down on the bed and she joined me. I'm going to sleep as well. I just hope I don't get nightmares after seeing that faceless guy. Allie spoke. I agree with her on that. He seemed to be extremely creepy in my opinion. But at least the others have some sort of human features, while this man is way too tall and had no face that can haunt me for years. Closing my eyes, I fell asleep with Allie. Well, it only felt like a few minutes though. I woke up from a nightmare from that Jason guy. He was chasing me, and from the fact that the shirt said toy maker on it, creepy toys were following me as he tried to catch me. But when I did wake up and I wasn't in the room with Allie, instead, I'm in a living room area. Damn. Am I starting to sleepwalk? This used to happen to me as a kid, but once I grew older, it stopped. This is a bad time for it to come back again. This place isn't familiar to me, so I have to try my best to find my way back into my room. I'm pretty sure everyone is asleep, but who knows that the killers could be awake right now and watching our every move. I walked up to a door and opened it, but when I did, it was only a closet filled with boxes. Closing the door, I turned around to see the tall, faceless man behind me as he watched me closely. This scared the living shit out of me as I completely jumped in from fear as my heart pounded loudly in my chest. These black tendrils, or whatever the hell they were from his back, as they seemed to be moving on their own. What are you doing in here? He questioned, and I opened my mouth to answer, but nothing would come out. I'm so afraid to the point where I lost my voice. I closed my mouth and took a deep breath and answered, I was sleepwalking and I'm trying to find my way back to my room. I did really good at not stuttering, but other than that, I'm still shaking. He didn't say anything until he looked at a door, and I looked that way as well. In the doorway is Toby as he has his arms crossed over his chest. I didn't hear him open the door. Toby, take her back to her room. Without any hesitation, he walked towards me and grabbed my arm as he dragged me to where my room should be. When we did get to my room area, I was right about some of the killers being up around moving. Did she try to escape? One of them questioned Toby. No, she was sleepwalking. I'm showing her back to her room, he answered, as he didn't even look at the guy that asked the question. As we kept walking, I saw a few familiar faces of killers as they looked at me. I pushed myself closer to Toby as I looked down. Out of nowhere, fast footsteps came running our way as I looked to see Allie running my way as a few other killers watched her run this way. Large amount of tears filled her eyes as she wrapped around me. Where the hell were you? She yelled at me as she cried into my shirt. My heart seemed to tighten in pain. I have no clue where I was. I ended up sleepwalking into a random area. Maybe that nightmare got me moving in real life, I answered. She pulled away from me as she allowed Toby to walk me back to our room as she followed close behind. She started to wipe her tears away. Once we were in the front of our door, we walked in as Toby stayed behind. He then closed our door along behind us. Basically, they're locking the door. I sighed as I went back onto the bed and fell right back asleep. I just hope the nightmare won't be as bad as the last one. Chapter 7. The next day, we were blindfolded as we were also guided to a cold room and sat down in cold chairs. People whispered to one another as we heard them attach these chains to our legs and to the chair that seemed to be cemented to the floor. You may take off your blindfolds. I reached for my blindfold and took it off as I saw a plate filled with something growing on it. People seem to have the same thing on their plates. No one can tell what it was because it was all blended up. You will have to eat this before your time runs out. If the time runs out, you will be killed. If you're wondering what you are eating, then I will tell you. Eyeless Jack paused, and I can tell that he's grinning under his navy blue mask. Well, you'll be eating human organs. A few of the people gagged as the rest of us didn't know how to react. I'm not next to Allie, so I won't be able to encourage her through this whole time. The last times I was able to save her because I sacrificed myself to be killed so she can live, but this time I can't do that. Now, because there isn't a lot on the plate. You only have 5 minutes to complete this. And your time starts now. He started the timer and everyone looked at each other, not wanting to eat it, but also not wanting to die. I took a deep breath. I would just do that method where I just like clog my nose and just, as a matter of fact, I'll kill myself. No, because I ain't going through this. Oh, no, 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 no. I'd rather have my dignity tight. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. Let's continue. I'm getting off track. I took a deep breath as I grabbed my nose and a fork and stuffed my face with the organs. People looked at me and I gagged in my mouth, but I continued to chew it. Ew. Everyone started to do the same. Some people gave up when it touched their mouth and they spat it back onto the plate. I swallowed the first bit of it and went to eat the rest. I looked around and saw Allie shoving it down her throat as she just swallowed it instead of chewing. It's organs, so. I decided to do this as well, and it helped a little bit, but it still had a bad taste. Once I was done, I could feel myself wanting to throw it up as I gagged more. I saw some people crying while eating their food as others just refused to touch it. When the timer went off, the people who couldn't finish or didn't touch it looked panicked. The killers walked around and unlocked the people who did finish, as they let the people who didn't finish. Once I was unlocked, I looked around for Allie to see that she was also unlocked as well. We both ran to each other, and Eyeless Jack decided to speak again. Now, you must be wondering where you are. You are all underground, and for the people who didn't finish their food, well, you will stay down here and starve to death, if we don't decide to kill you ourselves. For the people who did finish, you may leave. Without any hesitation, we left the place, as the people chained stayed quiet and looked around at each other. They said, "Keep my dignity." Period. I looked back to see how many people were chained, and I'm surprised to see the many people staying behind. I can't believe that many people decided death over surviving. Really? You can't believe that? Turning my head back forward, I felt the underground place. I made sure not to look back again as our kidnappers closed the door behind us. All of you wait out here while we deal with your losing teammates. We heard one of them say behind the closed doors. Once it was silent, I could feel the throw up build up in my throat, and I instantly leaned down and emptied my stomach. This caused a chain reaction, though, as people did the same. Some went behind trees, as others just puked in front of them. Damn, creepypastas, I thought they were fake, a girl said, and we all turned towards her. She looked at us confused. You don't know they're called creepypastas? They are horror stories online, and I know each and every one of their names and how they kill people. I just hope they'll help me survive until the end, she said. No one said anything after that and just waited silently for them to leave the underground area. I'm still confused as to what that girl meant when they said that they were just horror stories online. Does that mean someone created them or were they already real and people just somehow made their life story online? There is also a possibility that they themselves put their story up so people think that they are fake. But I would never ask Dr. Smiley these questions, let alone the other ones. They might kill me, and I'm not ready to die just yet. I need to stay alive for Allie and make sure she makes it to the end. Yes, she may be the one that introduced me to the doctor, but no way she knew this was going to happen. She only wanted to help, and I won't get mad at her for that. After all, maybe I didn't complain so much. If I didn't complain so much about my heart, then maybe she would have never went to him to make me happy. We are like sisters to each other, and I don't want her to die. I should have never introduced her to Toby, and then maybe she wouldn't have annoyed his teammates to the point where they made her a part of the game. I looked down at her shirt with her bold letter that said Masky on it. My heart broke a little at the fact that she is in this with me. YN? Allie broke me out of my thoughts as I looked up at her. She grabbed my hands and smiled at me. I want to confess something to you just in case if I do die, she said as a sad look crossed her features. I know that I'm annoying at times and get a little too excited about the littlest of things, and I know that I will always say you would look good with a few guys and say that you would have beautiful kids if you could have any. She paused for a bit as a few people seemed to watch out of curiosity to see what was going on. We both grew up with each other like sisters, but when I was in high school, I always had a crush on you even though you saw yourself as ugly or worthless of love. Even today, I still have feelings for you, and I just wanted you to know that just in case if I don't make it to the end or if your heart stops on you again, but forever. Tears formed in her eyes and fell down her cheeks as a smile crossed her face. I moved one of my hands from hers and wiped her tears. How about you two just kissed? That would be fun to watch. All of us jumped as we turned our head toward the murderers, even the doctors watching us both closely. Ali and I moved our hands away from each other as a blush of embarrassment formed on our faces. I scratched the back of my head as Ali messed with her shirt. We should be heading back by now. The guy with the yellow masked face said, the same one that helped Toby kidnap us. This broke the awkwardness a little as I grabbed Ali's hand as we started to head back. We, of course, followed them because none of us know where we were going, since they did blindfold us to bring us back to that place. We will not be going back to the mansion. Instead, you all will be taking a bath, and don't complain because we don't care what you think. If you complain about it or refuse to get in the water, we will forcibly undress you ourselves and throw you in. This one, known as Jeff, spoke aggressively, and everyone nodded their heads, even if he wasn't paying attention. Not as many people are alive like the other times. Also, we will be giving you normal food to build up your strength for the next round tomorrow. You will be fighting one of us. All you have to do is survive until the time is up. The one you might be fighting is Toby. He doesn't get tired easily, and he can't feel pain. Masky spoke after, and everyone literally stared at Toby, and he looked back at us with a wide grin. Not long after, we came to the water, and it didn't look very warm. Strip now. All of us looked at one another, but when a guy started to take off his clothes, we followed afterwards. Once all of us were naked, we went into the water, and I was right about it being cold. All of our teeth chattered as we covered ourselves with our hands and arms. Ali and I stayed close together to get warmer. We were basically used to taking baths with each other. When we were kids, we always did and played around. As we grew up, we took showers with one another as if we were going to be late to school, or when I and her stayed at each other's houses. The little body heat did help a little as we pressed against one another. We both laid our heads on each other's shoulder as our breathing is loud from the cold. I clenched my teeth as I could feel the stares of some of the men looking at us. Disgusting freaks. The water isn't cold enough to kill someone, but it is cold enough to be uncomfortable to stay in for too long. As time went on, we waited for them to call us out, and there is also a point when I started to feel lightheaded because my heart pounded loudly in my chest. This is so humiliating, Ali whispered, and I silently agreed with her. Lion, are you okay? She asked. No, I feel like I'm going to pass out. It's so cold I can't handle it, I whispered back. Well, try your best to stay awake, okay? I nodded my head at her, and she sighed. The time went on. More, I can feel my eyes try and roll back behind my head. This only made my legs give out, and Ali panicked as she grabbed me with both arms and held me closer to her. I rested one of my arms on her shoulder as the other hung loosely to my side. You may get out now. It's just like soaking a sponge? What? Smiley spoke, and Ali tried her best to get to the surface like the others did with me in her arms. When she was close enough, I felt someone dropped on me as two other arms picked me up. My head rested on someone's chest, but I tried to keep myself awake. My heart still pounded loudly in my chest as if it was starting to hurt, to the point where it started to hurt as well. That's when a familiar blue mask came into view. Is your heart about to stop? He tilted his head to the side, and I swear I could hear the smirk in his voice. I wonder, does your heart stop and restart on its own? If that's the case, that means the doctors here chose a smart game piece, and that would explain his interest in you. I looked away from him and decided to just try and clear my mind, but not too much, or I'll end up sleeping, and that sleeping can turn out to my heart stopping and waking me up in front of these psychopaths. I looked to see Dr. Smiley looking down at me. Then he looked back up and started to walk again. His doctor's coat wrapped around my naked form as I tried to turn my head the best I could. I wasn't the only one who almost passed out in the cold waters either. The black and white clown is basically dragging a guy who was also trying his best to stay awake. Though at least he's wearing clean clothes with the name Laughing Jack on his shirt. It is kind of weird, though, having two Jacks, but both with something different in front of their name. Allie, on the other hand, with the people who also have masking on their shirt as well, helped each other get warm. We should warm up your feet once we get back. I wouldn't want you to die on me just because of a cold. The doctor spoke. Getting warm sounds nice, considering at the moment all I have is his body heat and his coat to keep me warm. Once we made it back to the old mansion, Dr. Smiley grabbed some warm water and placed it onto my feet as I held onto his coat closer to me. The boy also got his feet placed in warm water as well as a blanket placed on him by his teammates. If they had warm water here, then why make us get naked in a cold river and watch us freeze? We are also given food on a small table in front of us as Allie sat next to me and ate. I ate slowly as I put my arm around the sleeve of the coat, considering I'm still naked under it. Once I was done eating, I looked around to see everyone looking at us eat. Oh my god. That's when a wave of tiredness hit me like a brick and I instantly blacked out onto Allie. YN? I can still hear her? I can even still hear my heart, but why am I not sleeping when I can hear everything and feel everything? She fell asleep? I heard one of the other players ask. My head slid off of Allie and I landed on her lap instead. The only thing I can feel are my fingers, but I didn't move them. Maybe if I stay still, I can fall asleep? What the hell is wrong with this girl this time? Jeff questioned Dr. Smiley. Because she was my patient for a while and that doesn't mean I know everything about her, he answered back. At one point my fingers started to twitch and that's when my heart sped up in a human pace. Thinking that my heart was going to stop in front of everyone, I wished the best of luck for the doctor to explain why I came back to life. But instead of dying, I thought I would wake up. Sitting up quickly, I wrapped the coat around me tighter and took deep breath as my heart calmed down. Oh man, I thought I was going to die, I whispered. Allie started to rub my back in a comforting way. Finally, at one point, I was given new clothes and put them on instantly. The only thing that bothers me is when Allie and I are hanging out, I can literally feel the eyes of the murderers watching us. I don't mind that she has a crush on me, but I'm not interested back. Who knows? My mind might end up changing if I go completely mad at this place. I'd rather stay as friends until I change my mind straight about the doctor. It's clear that I have a crush on him myself, and I know that I'm not the only one because the other girls' reaction to seeing him. It's both attraction and fear that shows in their eyes when they look at him. I have a feeling that he is only messing with my feelings because he knows that I have some sort of weird type of feelings for him. Even though I should hate him for what he has put me through in this hell. Then again, it's not like the others aren't handsome either, no matter how scary they look. For crying out loud, I've seen girls with the same look in their eyes, but for that creepy ass clown or the Jeff guy. Even the damn cannibal has secret admirers by some of the girls. Can you even call him a cannibal? He isn't even human, so I'm guessing he isn't really one, but he still creeps me the fuck out, so I stay away from him as much as possible. At the moment, Allie and I are sitting next to each other on the couch as we watch the killers walk around. We would talk to them, excuse me, we would talk about them at times, and even a few girls joined us as well. Isn't it scary how attractive some of these men are? Even though I feel a burning hatred for them all, I can't lie that some of them are handsome. One of the girls said, one of her shirt, one, blah, on her shirt said hoodie on it. I agree with you on that one. Such a waste that they are all crazy killers. Another girl spoke with Tiki Toby on her shirt. Who scares you the most out of all of them? A different girl asked as she looked at us. Her shirt said Homicidal Lou. The quieter ones scare me the most. At least the aggressive ones yell at us and tell us how pissed they are. While the quiet ones, you can't tell what their emotions are. The clown and the toy maker scares me the most. I always hated clowns as a kid, and the toy maker has whispered in my ear that the moment I die, he'll turn my body into a lovely toy. I looked at the girl to see the Jason toy maker on her shirt. Well then, that puppeteer said something similar to me, but when he said he's going to break all my bones in my body as I die slowly, then snap my neck so I can turn into a lovely puppet, I don't even have his name on my shirt, and yet that creepy bastard wants me. Ugh. I looked at her shirt and to see Ben drown on her shirt. She's pretty, though. I'm guessing he wants the extremely doll-like looking people as his puppets because she is kind of depressing as well. And I noticed that he keeps depressing people bodies as puppets. Masky scares me. He watches me all the time, waiting for me to get killed either by him or at least someone else. There are even times I've seen him walk around our room and watch Ryan when we sleep. Ali said, and gave the girl all sad looks. Damn, I'm scared of Jeff, but at least the Joker reject doesn't stalk me to the point of driving me into insanity. One of the girls said, and a few of them giggled at his nickname. Wait a minute, you have that Dr. Smiley as your leader, whatever we call him. Who do you fear? One of the girls asked. I fear that Alice Jack guy and Dr. Smiley. The Alice Jack watches me as if waiting for me to drop dead in front of him and instantly come back alive. Well, the doctor almost knows everything about me because I was one of his patients, I said. I know this is going to sound weird, but do any of you have some sort of weird attraction to one of these guys? For some reason, I feel that towards the Alice Jack guy and Bloody Painter. The mysterious men always catch my attention. One of the girls spoke. I feel that way towards the guy with the stitches all over his body. His name's Homicidal Lou, I think. A different girl answered instantly. Ugh, this is disgusting. Stockholm Syndrome! Even though none of us know each other's names, we strangely get along with one another. I think that puppeteer guy and Jason are pretty cute, even though I'm scared of them. I'm not gonna lie, but that Toby guy is pretty hot, along with the other one who's called Cat Hunter, with a creepy cat mask. I would say that the masky guy or even that hoodie guy as well. I always see those two together. It's kind of creepy, but attractive. No way in hell I would tell these girls that Dr. Smiley attracts me. What about you two? Who would you say is cute? The girls looked at us. Ali and I looked at one another, and we can tell we didn't want to say we didn't want to say anything. Well, I like YN, so I don't feel anything for any of the guys. Ali lied, but they believed her. When they looked at me, I blushed. I don't like anyone. I lied, but they didn't believe it. Oh, come on, we know you like someone. I swallowed and I looked away. I love Ali, I said, and all of them went silent as Ali's face went beat red at my lie. Even though she knows that it's a lie, she couldn't help but blush. Okay then, if you like one another, then why not date each other? The girl said with a smile. She had hopeful eyes that we were going to date right here, right now. Damn. If she likes Ali, she is imagining us dating already. We're already dating. I squinted my eyes as my voice became awkward. You should kiss. That would be so romantic. A different girl said, and I swear, if she was a cartoon character, my hearts would have appeared around her and in her eyes. The other girls also had the same expression as well. I have a feeling that these girls watch a lot of romantic movies, but they can't watch their movies. They turn into. Ali and I looked at each other, and I thought between kissing my best friend or acting like I like Dr. Smiley. Now I can do neither, but something tells me that these girls have determined souls to get us to do it to either one. Well, Ryan and I, before Ryan Ali could finish, I grabbed the collar of her shirt and gave her a stiff kiss. It was awkward, but it's better than admitting that I like a killer and have and end us hearing me say that. Ali is also stiff, but not long. She kissed me back and pulled me closer to her. My face is scrunched up in embarrassment while Ali's face is calm, but with a large blush covering her cheeks. When I pulled away from her, I turned my head to see our kidnappers looking and I screamed. The girl did the same when they noticed them watching us as well. Ali, on the other hand, is doing a mini dance in her seat. Nice. Toby spoke as something flashed in his eyes, which made me feel even more awkward than before. The little game guy named Ben is floating upside down with some sort of crazed smile on his face. I looked away from them as I covered my heated face with my hands. Ali is still doing her little dance on her chair as she whispered a few things to herself. This day is going to be a long one, and I don't think I'm ready for it to fight Toby tomorrow, let alone look at him from what he just said today. When nightfall came, all of us went to our rooms. We wanted to sleep early because fighting Toby would be early as well. Both Ali and I crawled under the covers as we closed our eyes to sleep, and I hope I don't end up waking up one day and finding a masky guy looking right at us. As we both slept peacefully in our own little dreamland, we weren't able to hear the door open and close as a male figure walked in. His dark aura, of course, woke us up, and when we turned our heads, I was expecting Masky to be watching us, but instead, it was Dr. Smiley and Toby. The both of us sat up as we backed away from them on the bed. My back hit Allie, and I knew she wouldn't move anymore or she would fall off the bed. Let's make a deal, shall we? Toby stuttered as Dr. Smiley looked right at me. This is why he scared the shit out of me at times. It's his damn eyes. That's how he shows different emotions. Freaks me out. Oh, sorry guys. If you take this deal, just to remind you, Toby got the smart idea and forced me to come, or he'll tell my little secret to everyone that I have planned for the future. He growled as his red gaze followed Toby. He only chuckled at the doctor's expression. I'm loyal to the Slender Man, but that doesn't mean I won't keep a few secrets from him for my own amusement. Toby purred as his eyes went back to us. Now, you must know that there aren't a lot of proxies that are female. There's actually one, and she isn't all that interesting at all. So, I decided I won't kill either of you in the fight if you agree on my deal. Toby spoke, and this deal seemed tempting. What do we have to do for this deal to become a thing? Allie asked. He grinned at us. So far, you two are the cuter girls in this damn place and actual roommates. Don't worry, we aren't dumb like the others to know that you two are clearly friends and that's all. But I want to see you both strip. I haven't seen a woman in a long time, and I want to change that today. I don't know what scares me is that the fact that Allie is thinking about it more than me, or the fact that Toby has such a serious face, and that the doctor clearly didn't know he was going to witness someone get naked, considering his face expression right now. Both Allie and I looked at one another and opened our mouths to answer. Cliffhanger? Chapter 8. How much do we have to take off? Allie spoke first and I closed my mouth. All of it. Toby grinned at us and we both looked at one another. You are not going to make us do anything, are you? I asked, and he shook his head. I only want to see you two strip, and that is all. I'm not going to make you kiss or anything. The mention of kissing brought back the memory of what Allie and I did as Bush covered both of our faces, but for different reasons. I don't think I can do this, I said as I looked at Allie, her eyes widened. But if we do, he won't kill us tomorrow, she said, and I shook my head. I've never gotten naked in front of a man before. Besides, being forced in that damn river? I whispered back as my face became red. Besides, you used to be a nude model, so you're used to it, I said, and she sighed. I don't want to do this either, but if you won't kill us, wouldn't that be good enough? She asked. Both Toby and Dr. Smiley looked at us talk about this. Wyan, I will force you to get naked, she yelled at me quietly. I glared at her. I'm not getting naked, and that's final, I yelled back. Allie side-eyed me as Allie Allie side-eyed me before looking at Toby. We'll do it, she said nervously, and I just looked at her. We'll? I questioned as she looked back at me. I'm pinning you down and undressing you. She glared right up at me. I refuse to let you die. Toby chuckled as he leaned in closer, but we ignored him. I was about to run off, but she tackled me to the floor as I tried to push her off. Allie, no! I yelled out. You are getting naked with me, whether you like it or not, she yelled back at me. She grabbed the bottom of my shirt and I started to pull it up as I tried to push her off. How are you so fucking heavy, you skinny ass stick? I shouted. After many hours of struggling and fighting, I sat in a corner with no clothes on as I pressed my legs to my chest, my back facing Toby, Dr. Smiley, and Allie as she lied on the floor breathing heavily. I turned my head to Dr. Smiley, looking away from me and looking at the wall. Toby is a different sentence as he is silently laughing to himself as his shoulders shook. Allie, on the other hand, is on the floor slowly getting her clothes off. How in the hell did you last so long fighting? Allie questioned. I didn't answer as I just stayed in my corner of gloom. When she was fully undressed as well, she walked towards me and grabbed me from under my arms and dragged me towards the two men. Girl used to be a nude model? Gee, at least got paid for it. Jesus. Period. She grabbed me from under my arms and dragged me towards the two men. Of course, she struggled through the whole the whole time because I made sure to make myself as heavy as a boulder. She forced me to stand up, and I tried my best to cover myself up with my hands. While, on the other hand, she is standing as if some kind of nude beach. Dr. Smiley still refuses to look at us as Toby laughed at his reaction. Come on, dear doctor, it is your turn to look now, or should I tell Slenderman that what you've been hiding from him? Dr. Smiley growled as he looked our way. He looked at us in the face, but at one point he ended up looking down, then back up. A wild shiver spread through me as I turned myself into a ball of flesh. I held my legs close to my chest as I covered my face with my hands. This day will be stuck in my head forever, I mumbled. Well, you can get dressed now. I only did this to scar the doctor forever, so he'll be stuck having flashbacks of this day. Toby chuckled. We both looked at him. I've killed plenty of naked women, so this doesn't faze me. I only did this to bother the doctor, so you can get dressed now. Toby jumped off the dresser that he was sitting on as he walked out of the room. I looked at Dr. Smiley to see his fist clenched, but his face completely calm. I, on the other hand, looked away from him and didn't waste another second to put my clothes on. Once I was fully dressed along with Allie, I turned back to the doctor to see him still there. He seems to be whispering to himself as he rubbed his temples with his fingers. Idiot. He acts like I haven't dissected a woman with no clothes before. That was the only sentence I understood from his constant mumbling, and it only makes me feel really uncomfortable. Without us looking at the doctor, he left, as he continued talking to himself the whole way out. He closed the door. I then turned to Allie, and she gave me a nervous laugh. I should kill you right here, right now, I spoke. She just turned her head to the side. Well, at least he won't kill us tomorrow, so that's good news. She said back as she slowly crawled onto the bed as she watched me. My glaring face never left hers. Well, they can also break deals as well, because they can do whatever they want here. I said this, and that made her freeze. You don't think he would actually break the deal, right? She questioned me. Yes, anyone can break a deal just because they can. Or he might not. I guess it depends on what type of person he is. I answered, and I went on the bed as well and under the covers. Hopefully, I can forget this day completely as I sleep. Once my eyes closed, it didn't take me long to sleep. The next day, everyone was placed in a room, as each person would have their names being called to fight. The first person never came along with a few others, but after a while, some people did come back with extremely bad injuries. Dr. Smiley and Eyelash Jack both tended to those people, but of course, a few of them did die from blood loss, and because they were just corpses to them, they would harshly push the body to the ground and deal with the next person. When Allie's name was called up, she stood up and followed the strange man. As I waited onto my seat, as a few people seemed to pray to themselves or even whisper a few things to one another as comfort. We exactly get 5 minutes to fight him, and a lot of people felt better about this. But when no one was returning to the room for the longest time, people started to get scared. Some people started to say how maybe the injured went into a different room. That, of course, was shut down when the first survivor came back all messed up and bloody. A lot more people died than surviving, and when people did survive, they would also die here from blood loss. Others, on the other hand, would be able to push through the stitches of pain and fall asleep on a bench while other people looked after them. When Allie's 5 minutes was up, I feared that Toby didn't keep his deal and that they would just end up coming up with another name. Good thing I was wrong. Ellie came through the door, sweating as she panted heavily. She held onto her side and walked towards with. That was the hardest thing anyone could ever do, she breathed out. When she caught her breath, she finally whispered to me, even though he made that deal, you still have to dodge him as fast as you can, because some of the killers watch the fight. This whole time, you just have to survive his attack so you don't even have to fight back if you don't want to. He also kept his deal. He would miss me on purpose a lot of the time, which means I wouldn't have done that deal. I would be dead today. I swallowed hard at her words as some of the people gave Allie a weird look from the fact she wasn't injured at all. When they called my name up, I got up and followed the man in all black. He has a face, but his face is black. Who is this guy? I haven't seen him around. When he looked at me, his glasses are completely white, and then a mouth grew onto his darkened face. Observer was the only thing he said before turning around and continuing to walk. What was his name? Observer? I'm still trying to figure out what he was considering. Basically describing him, guys. Not long after, we both came into a clearing of trees as Toby stood in the middle of the clearing, blood covering the grass floor along with his clothes and hatchets. Even though his face is covered in blood along with his goggles, I walk towards him and can see some of the killers watching in the wooded area. I can hear someone say, "Start." I had a little time to react as Toby swung his hatches at me. It is clear that they gave everyone the biggest hint that you don't fight him. They gave you no weapon to fight, which means some people either weren't good at dodging or weren't smart enough to know when you're not supposed to fight him. The thing that unnerves me, though, is seeing Toby's eyes through the goggles. It's completely insanity and anger. But why anger? I was taken out by my thoughts as a sharp sting was felt on my cheek. I moved at I moved far away as I could from him as I touched the side of my cheek. What the hell? We had a deal. Why is he hurting me? Looking up back at his face, something clicked in my head. He wants me to die because he knows I'm the one who's saving Allie. Because I can't die normally. He might as well end up trying to cut my head off so I won't come back. He probably knows my plan to allow Allie to win because he knows I will die for her. And if he wins, Masking wins, and then I remember those two hated each other. When he swung at my head, I ducked as the seconds ticked on more. Scratches littered my body as I started to get tired to the point I would collapse at times, but was determined to keep moving. When I fell down, I could barely feel myself and even more. My body was trying to give out on me. What the hell is the 5 minutes? Just as Toby was about to land his hatchet on my head, someone stopped him and he growled at them in anger. Terribly sorry to say, but someone put the timer at the wrong time. You have been fighting him for 20 minutes. What the hell? I could have died because of one of their mistakes and no one thought it was weird how 5 minutes felt like forever? I looked at the guy who was nice enough to save me, only to see that the puppeteer smiled down at me. I slowly got up with a groan as I walked back to the place where the two people taking care of the injured. When I did come back and walk through the door, people looked my way and saw the many lines of blood against my body. Even though he got me, I knew that I didn't need stitches for these because how lucky I got. I walked to the doctor to get my wounds clean because that hatchet did have other people's blood on it. When he saw me, a growl left him as a flash of anger flashed in my eyes. It only lasted a second, though, when he went back to his emotionless face. I sat down as he disinfected every injury that I got from the little fight. When he was done, he looked right at me. What the hell happened? He whispered. I don't know. He kept the deal with Allie, but not me. He wants me dead, that's all I can tell you, I whispered. He stood up to his full height as he walked outside. I got off the chair and walked towards Allie and sat down next to her. She looked at me with wide eyes. I can't believe he didn't keep his part of the deal with you. Why the hell do you think he did that? Allie asked. It's probably because he knows I'll protect you in the next round. I can't die so easily, and he found this out, so he was aiming for my head. He knows that if both of us live and are the only ones alive, I will allow you to win, and if you win, Masky wins. I explained to her, and she looked down as we both stayed quiet as time went on. Just like before, some people survived, the rest died. There isn't many people now, and we can clearly tell because of how empty it feels, and some of the people's players are all dead. I don't see any more people with Jeff's name on it, along with a few other names as well. Sighing to myself, I closed my eyes and allowed myself to relax. Alright, guys. Wow. This was, I can't lie to you, this was pretty intense. This was pretty intense, guys. I've never felt so frustrated in my life reading a story before. Maybe because it's late, I don't know. But, wow. A lot of stuff happened. Wow, just a lot. And a lot of disgusting things happened that I'm surprised I even read myself. Wow. So, anywho, guys, moving along smoothly. What do you think is going to happen next, guys? Do you think Tiki Toby will succeed in officially killing YN or not? Will Allie be able to win to the final round, or will she die trying? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. There will be a lot of warnings for this story, and I feel like it's only going to get worse from here, so guys, prepare. I know this video is a little long, so I do apologize for that. I did try my best to read it to the best of my abilities, but some of the words are just not written right. It's just almost as if you voice type something and it doesn't come out exactly how you would. I've done it before and it doesn't that's how I feel when I read this a little bit. It was a little frustrating because of how the words not are not and sentences are not really cohesive with each other or something like that, if that makes sense. Um, if you read this individually on your own, I feel like you would understand, but you don't have to. I'm doing my best to read it to you guys the best of my abilities. Anywho, guys, sorry to cut this short since this video is pretty long already. I hope you guys did enjoy this fanfic so far. However, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more amazing videos, guys. I will do my best to keep updated with the story, guys. I promise. I just fell behind a little bit and read a story I was not supposed to, but at least we finished that one, right? I'm talking about the prompts one, guys. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys, and my phone is literally about to die. Whoopsie. I shall see y'all guys in the future next with of a video. Bye and peace, y'all.